I bought a $13 wok at Ross, and I didn't expect it to make me cry. I know that sounds like a lot for a kitchen tour, but sometimes the most ordinary objects carry the deepest memories. This wok brought me back to my father, my childhood in my parents' leather workshop, to my Chinese roots and a part of myself I had buried for survival. And as I watched the metal darken, something became clear to me. We don't heal by becoming untouched again. Sometimes healing begins when our marks stop being shame and become depth. This is it, the wok. You see, it's not shiny, it's not perfect, it's not evenly colored. You can already see the first marks of fire, the dark places, the uneven patina starting to appear. And that's what happens with carbon steel. It changes with heat, with oil, with time and use. It doesn't stay pristine. It becomes itself by going through fire. And that's exactly what moved me. It's not damaged by fire. It's not damaged by living. It develops a patina. And when I saw that patina, I thought of my father's wok. I was born in China and I moved to France when I was a 1-year-old baby. My parents were immigrants. They worked in a leather workshop, and for a large part of my childhood, we lived inside that workshop. Home and work were not separate worlds. There were machines, the smell of leather, workers, and the sound of labor. And also Chinese music and Chinese opera playing in the background to cover the noise. And those workers were not only workers in my child's eyes. In Chinese culture, we often call people auntie and uncle. So everyone was auntie and uncle to me. We worked in the same space, we ate all together. They were part of the community and the family that raised me. And in the middle of that world, there was one flame, one gas bottle, and my father's wok. My father cooked for the whole workshop with one wok. We didn't have a kitchen full of expensive pans. We didn't have a beautiful set of kitchen utensils. No, just one wok, fire, rice, chopped vegetables, chopsticks, and life was held together. I realize now that my childhood was very humble, but it wasn't poor. It was materially simple, yes. My parents worked very hard, they saved a lot, they sacrificed. We didn't have much in terms of comfort or possessions, but there was another kind of wealth. I can see it now how it was rich in another way. It was rich in food, rich in gestures, rich in presence, rich in quiet dignity, the Chinese dignity. In immigrants' family like mine, love does not always speak in words. It does not always say, I love you. It does not always hug you, but love cooks. It works, it saves, it feeds, and it holds all together. And for a long time, I didn't fully understand that kind of love because I was also carrying another story. Growing up Asian in France, I experienced anti-Asian racism. The jokes, the insults, the mockery, the slanted eyes people pulled with their fingers, the casual cruelty people often dismiss because anti-Asian racism is so normalized. The invisible racism so many people minimize because it does not look always violent enough to be recognized as violence. As a child, I just wanted to belong. I wanted to be less visible, less different, less easy to hurt or to attack. And then when I was 15, there was the night everything changed. An armed hostage taking with violence and a rape in that same workshop. And the place that had held my childhood became the place of terror. And the criminals who did this came from my own community. And so my nervous system did what nervous system do after trauma. It created a survival map. My own community meant danger. Asian men meant threat. My own roots felt dangerous. It was not the truth, it was a protection created by survival. And trauma had contaminated the root. And this is something fundamental we don't talk about enough. Because trauma does not only affect memory. It can contaminate belonging. It can make us reject the very places, people, languages, bodies, or cultures that once held us, not because we hate them, but because our nervous system has associated them with danger. And for years, I lived with that inner split. My Chinese roots were my foundation, and they were also connected to fear and threat. They were my home, and they were danger. They had held me, and they had been contaminated by violence. And today, something is deeply repairing. I'm taking Chinese lessons. I'm returning to my roots, not as a child trying to survive anymore, but as a free woman who can finally choose what she wants to reclaim and to honor. And then this walk appeared in my life. A $13 walk, very humble object, but it carries a whole world. Because when I look at this walk, I see something that feels true about healing. A walk does not heal by becoming shiny again. It doesn't become valuable by pretending the fire never touched it. It receives heat. It receives oil. It receives gestures. It darkens. It changes. It becomes marked by use. It develops a patina. And patina is not damage. Patina is time made visible. It's the proof that something did not stay protected in a box. It was used, it served, it fed, it endured the fire and became deeper through contact with life. And maybe we are like that too. We don't heal by becoming untouched again. We don't heal by erasing every mark, every scar, every sign that life had happened to us. We heal when we stop treating our marks as evidence of shame. We heal when the trace and scars become depth. Patina is what appears when our story stops being shame and becomes depth. And this walk reminded me that my roots are not the violence that happened to me. My roots are much larger than that. They are my father cooking for the workshop, my mother working so hard, Chinese songs and Chinese opera over the sounds of machines, shared meals, silent sacrifice, and food, dignity, and life. And maybe healing is not about becoming smooth again. Maybe healing is being able to hold what once hurt and realize there is still life here. There is still love here. There is still something that belongs to me. A $13 walk taught me that what goes through fire is not always destroyed. Sometimes it becomes deeper. Sometimes it becomes stronger. Sometimes it becomes more alive. Sometimes it becomes patina, the patina of life. And this patina is not shame. It is a story, a deeply human story. If this speaks to you, I'd love to know. Is there an object, a song, a smell, a recipe, or a language that brought you back to a part of yourself you thought you had lost? Please share it in the comments. I'd really love to read your story. And if you're interested in healing, in belonging, and the invisible architecture that holds us, please subscribe to this channel. You can also join my newsletter if you want to go deeper. I will share the link below. And this is the kind of work I explore here, not just healing as an individual process, but healing as a return to home, a return to what can hold us again. Thank you so much for being here and see you on the next video. Bye-bye.